Hi, welcome to another episode of Port Charles Chat. I'm Mom.
And I'm Brandon.
Thank you so much for joining us today.
Yes, thank you for joining us.
All right, and we are talking about the week of September 8th through September 12th of 2025. And just so you guys know, a day of recording, this is actually on September the 13th. All right, Brandon, are you ready to talk about General Hospital?
Mom, I'm ready. Are you?
I sure am. Alrighty, so once more, we're following up with basically Drew after he was shot, and that's where we're kind of starting off. So Drew has woken up from his surgery, and of course, when questioned, he accuses Michael of being the person who could have shot him. He does kind of indicate that he never saw the person, or at least at this point in time, that's what he's saying. But he does accuse Michael. Um, and then Michael plans to use Jacinda as his alibi. And then they begin laying the groundwork together on that particular alibi. Alexis uses Ava and Christina as her alibi. Um, Curtis does not have an alibi. Um, and then Anna's just busy just questioning everybody. Scout runs away from camp. And Charlotte does help Scout in this endeavor. Scout goes to Cody, and then Cody in turn calls Molly, and Molly calls Alexis. All that to say that they all kind of meet up at with Cody in order to get Scout. Willow is given custody of Cody. No, it's not Cody. Willow is given custody of Scout um, because Drew and Willow had already had an arrangement that if something were to happen to either of them, that either one of them would have custody of their children. Um, Jason actually goes back to Croatia. He ends up rescuing Jocelyn and Vaughn, and then he eventually rescues Britt. Britt and Jason fly back to Port Charles together, and then Britt walks into General Hospital and shocks everybody. And then after, this is going on at the hospital, meaning in regards to Britt and everyone being shocked. Jason arrives back to Port Charles and questions Anna about Jocelyn. Um, Britt admits to being in Drew's house on the day of the shooting, and he also indicates that he added something to Drew's safe. And then Brennan interrupts Jason. Brennan interrupts Jocelyn and Vaughn and then questions them while they're in Australia. And that, I think, is General Hospital in a nutshell this week. Brandon, what did I leave out?
I mean, that sounds all good. I didn't know that we're giving custody away for Cody, but nevertheless.
Yes, I know. Well, someone needs to take custody of Cody. So anyway, so that's what I have for this week. And so let's talk a little bit about the performers of the week. And it was an exciting week this week, I will say that. Performers of the week, I had Portia, which is very shocking, but this week I liked her. So, as annoying as she was, I liked her. So, Portia was, for me, one of the performers of the week, along with Liesel. What about you, Brandon? Who did you think your performers of the week were?
Yeah, I'm going to have to say the same people, but I'm going to say a close runner-up is Britt.
All right, I agree with that too. All right, as for amusing scenes of the week, when after the explosion that occurs, and I'm sorry I didn't talk about that, but there was an explosion. But after the explosion occurs, Jason's kind of protecting Britt, and he's kind of laying on top of her. And when they get up and they start talking, Britt looks at him, and she says, "Jason, I don't like your tattoos." That in itself made me laugh nonstop. And that to me was the most amusing scene of the week. It was just so unexpected. After that, the other amusing scene for the week for me actually had to be with Britt and her general conversation with Jason while they were on the plane. All right, Brandon, what are your amusing scenes of the week?
Well, I mean, Britt has to do it with a lot of them for me. I definitely like that. And her everyone's reaction when she walks into just walks into General Hospital, where she was co-chief of staff until her death. but but yeah, especially Elizabeth's reaction. um, I just thought all of it was hilarious. But another one I'd add actually has to do with Liesel, and Liesel is telling Rocco to eat up because he's skinny enough as is.
Yes, yes. Liesel always has a nice. I like Liesel. I'll admit I didn't like her when she first came in, but I really like Liesel now. Alrighty. And as for touching moments of the week, they had to be Liesel and Britta. When they saw each other at the hospital, I thought that was incredibly touching. And I liked the way they hugged each other. Now, mind you, later Liesel did go and slap Britta, but during that scene, it was a very touching moment. All right, Brandon, what about you for touching moments of the week?
Well, hey, the slap does count as a touch.
Yes, it does count as a touch. You're right.
But yes, I definitely did enjoy that moment. And I'm also going to add the conversation between Lucas and Elizabeth.
Okay, I'll agree with that too. Alrighty. And as for fast forwarding scenes this week, I didn't have any. What about you, Bran?
No, I didn't have any, although it's shocking to think that the Portia part is more interesting than the Isaiah part.
It is interesting. But anyway, so I want to go over some of the suspects of the week, Brandon. Do you have a minute to talk about them?
Yeah, let's go right into it.
Alrighty, let's talk about Brick and Sunny. And I want to say I want to talk about them because I was not considering Brick. But Brick admits to actually being in the house on the day of the shooting, and he said he planted evidence in Drew's safe in regards to the money transaction that occurred with the judge. And so he deposited money. Well, he made it seem as though that Drew deposited money into the judge's account. And so, but just the fact that Brick was in the house kind of shocked me. Sonny doesn't indicate that he was in the house, but Brick does point blank say he was there. He didn't say he saw anything, or at least he didn't say he was admitting to seeing anything. He just said he was in the house. Brandon, were you surprised by this?
I wasn't surprised that Brick was in the house, and that he moves quickly, as he says, or as like it goes, something along those lines. But he said that was hours before the shooting, and I just thought it was hilarious the fact that they decided to pin this on Drew, and that Drew's safe is probably the least safe area for Charles right now.
I guess so. I guess so. But Brick, who was not a suspect of mine, is now, of course, someone to consider. Sonny has always been someone to consider. I don't think either of them did it. It's just, things to keep in mind. Alexis. Um, Alexis does not have a true alibi. She's using, of course, Christina and Ava as her alibi, but in theory, she does not have one, at least at this point. Um, Anna seems to believe what Alexis is saying, so she's kind of dismissing Alexis as a suspect. Your thoughts about Alexis?
I don't even know if any of our main suspects that we'll get to in a moment, I don't know if any of them have a real alibi, but in terms of Alexis, I don't think she did that. Now, is she covering it up? Probably. But I mean, she has so many other crimes to cover up right now. I don't think she has time for this one.
That's true too. All right, then we have Tracy. Tracy, of course, does not have an alibi because she was the one who actually saw Drew first. I don't think Tracy did it. I really don't. What are your thoughts about Tracy?
No, I don't think she did it. She probably doesn't mind it, but I don't think she did it.
No, and I do believe her when she says she saw Michael out there. I don't think Michael did it either, but we'll get to him in a minute. Then we have Curtis. Curtis also does not have an alibi. I mean, he has a story up until a certain point, but he does not have an alibi. And Martin, of course, is working as his lawyer. Um, do you think Curtis did it?
I don't think Curtis did. Now, he probably knows something, and he probably is plotting some other revenge against Drew, but did he do this one just because he's at the top of the suspect list? Usually the PCPD is just really off regarding that, so as soon as they put him on the list, I know I have to eliminate him from the from that one. But he is, a part of me says that he's covering for something because it seems like he's trying to make himself suspicious.
Yeah, I think he's covering for something too, but I don't think he did it either. And then we have Michael. Michael, who to me is just point blank interesting, only because he's giving himself an alibi, understandably so. But his alibi would actually be because he was at the bar, to me anyway, and the bartender saw him there because the bartender did acknowledge that they were there. But Michael wants to give more of an alibi, and so he is now using Jacinda in order to give himself an alibi. Now, it is true that he did see Jacinda at the bar, and that there are witnesses who could say they were at the bar. However, now he's making it seem as though he spent some time with Jacinda and they are going to work things out. So he starts making things up. So I don't think Michael did it either. I think he's covering for someone, but I don't think he did it. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think Michael did it at least this time around, and yeah, but I feel that he is intentionally making himself look suspicious, similar to Curtis. Curtis may be covering up for Portia. I don't think she did it. I'm just saying. Michael seems like he's doing the same sort of thing, where just intentionally trying to throw suspicion on themselves.
Yeah. All right. And then we've got Rocco. Rocco, who I never really considered, quite honest, to begin with. But he is someone to think about. Then we have Danny, who is missing. I mean, not really missing, but I mean, he has not been on the canvas as of yet. And then we have Nina. Well, let's go to the children. Your thoughts on the children?
I can believe Danny. I don't believe Rocco. And I don't think Rocco would. If Danny did it, I don't think Rocco knows, only because I think he would have said something to someone.
Yeah, true too. All right, Nina. All right, now we have Nina. Nina, of course, makes up a story that she's with Willow in order to cover up for Willow, but at the same time, she's giving herself her own alibi for that time period. I don't think Nina did it. Um, I mean, if she did, I don't think she did. I really don't think Nina did it. But she does make up an alibi for herself. Interesting. Anna has. I don't think Nina's on Anna's list. I don't think, or at least our main part of the list.
I think she is on the
Mm,
list, but I don't know how high up she is.
yeah. All right. So, what are your thoughts? Do you think Nina did it?
See, I think that would be too easy. I don't foresee her having done it. Again, like so many people on this list, I can certainly believe that she knows and perhaps had plot her own revenge, but I don't think she would have done it at the house. I think if she were to have done it, I think she would have done it like in public or something.
Yeah. Okay. And then we have Willow with no alibi, but yet her mama made her an alibi. So did Willow do it? Initially I would have said yes, but that it seems to be way too obvious. So I don't know if they're going to go for the obvious here or whether or not they're just going to go for something completely different. All right, Bran, your thoughts about Willow?
I don't know if she had time to do it.
Hmm, that's a thought too.
I mean, it wouldn't shock me if she was on her way to do it, but I don't think that there was enough time elapsed in there. I mean, anything's possible in Port Charles, but I don't. I don't know. I don't think the timeline's quite adding up. I don't think she was gone long enough for that to happen. I don't think that's where she would have done it. I think, if anything, it would have been more of a I'm plotting my revenge, but shooting him twice where he would end up having to go back to her workplace. I don't think she would have done it at that point in time.
Yeah, and she would eventually have to go back to the house too. So even though they weren't living together, I mean, just as for Scouts, because she would have known that she would have had custody of Scout. So I don't think Willow did it. Now I left two people off my list when I was writing this out, so I'm just going to kind of talk about them. We have Stella. Stella does not have a alibi either. I don't know. Stella could have done it. It's I don't know. She is a least likely suspect that you would think about. So if they're going for least likely, she is someone who could have done it. But I don't think the police commissioner is really considering Stella at this time. I'm not saying she's not on the list. I think she's on the list, but I just don't think they're really considering her as a true suspect. Curtis, of course, would cover for Stella, and so I think some other people would cover for Stella also. But whether or not she did it, I don't think she did. But she is someone to consider. Your thoughts about Stella?
Yeah, I definitely think that she could be on the list. I mean, but the fact that she immediately said that she's scared that Curtis did it, maybe that she said that just to throw us off. But I don't know. I wouldn't see her doing that. Now I can see someone doing it for her, but I
Yeah.
don't per se see her doing it.
Well, and then the other thing is, it makes you wonder if she was there and maybe she saw Curtis. I'm not saying Curtis did it, but because she immediately said, "Where is Curtis?"
That's true.
Yeah. But anyway, okay. And then we have Portia. Portia was the person I initially said, and I can't remember if I said it last week or not on the online, but I thought Portia was the one who, to me, could have done it. She is like one of the least likely, but yet at the same time likely person to do it. Um, um, so I lean towards that way. Um, I've got a new thought this week, and I'll go over that in a second. But that's where I was thinking last week. All right, Brandon, what about you and Portia?
Yeah, definitely. See, I struggle with this. Not that she wouldn't do it, because she seems sometimes impulsive like that, almost like a Christina. But I don't know if she would have done it this go around. Now, I could easily have seen Portia try to take him down in the recovery process because it was all touch and go and everything, and you saw her holding down on the wound too long. But Drew survived, so
Well, and see, for me, that would be a cover for her. She would go into surgery so it wouldn't look like that she did that to him. But meaning that she shot him, and then so I could see her going into the room. I could see her, meaning the operating room. I could see her operating on him. Well, she did, um, just so it makes it seem like she would be someone you wouldn't suspect, even though she did it. I mean, she didn't have anything to lose at this point, except for her new friend Isaiah. But I mean, she didn't have anyone to lose at this point. So I don't know. And then she didn't want, even though she told Trina about everything, she of course doesn't want Trina to know the whole truth. So I don't know. She's someone who you could suspect, I think. But anyway, so let me tell you who I think did it this week. Subject to change for next week because I'm just like that. And so this week, I think Danny did it. And the reason I say I think Danny did it because he hasn't been seen yet, so he's not someone you suspect. And I think that multiple people would cover for him. I mean, Jason's out of town, so Jason, of course, is not going to do anything. Brick would cover for him. We've got Curtis. I'm pretty sure would cover for him. Um, Willow may even cover for Danny, which sounds odd, but I she might. And then who was the other? Michael would cover for Danny. Tracy would cover for him, and Alexis would. And so if and Rocco would too, but I don't think that Rocco knows anything. Oddly enough, Charlotte would cover for Danny. So I think that any one of these people would cover for him, and so which makes me a little suspicious of Danny, who is nowhere to be found. So so that's what I think this week. That is once more I said, subject to change next week. We'll see. All right, Brandon, what are your thoughts?
well, first of all, we skipped over Carly as a suspect, but I do think that Danny is a very high probability, and I think that would also go into the conversation that Sonny, Carly, and Brick were having, in the sense that Brick is convinced that the whole reason Carly had come clean was to cover with someone. And it's like, do you think Michael did it? It's like, no, Michael wouldn't have done it. Um, they didn't say that was not the reason she's doing it, but they very heavily imply that somebody's covering for somebody. So the question is Danny the one that did it? I mean, I think it's a pretty strong possibility. The question is, if he did do it, where is he? Is he like in Alexis's basement somewhere?
No, but then he'd be he'd be speaking to Rick then. So, no. So no. But anyway, you're right. I did forget about Carly, and I need to write that down. I've never suspected Carly at all because I just don't think she would. Carly's got other things and people to be mad at, and that's not Carly's way. Carly's not going to sneak off and do it. She just do it in front of people. So I mean, I don't think that Carly is one to go off and do this. Um, so, and I think Carly would actually think ahead a little bit, and I think she would think about Donna, and I think she'd think about Michael and everyone else. So I don't think that Carly would do it. Um, so, so anyway, so those are our thoughts. Put in the comments, please, who you think is the culprit. Um, and let's see, we have some welcome backs this week. First of all, welcome back Gio and Emma. They have been gone. Welcome back Charlotte, who is now a new person. So I think those are the three welcome backs that I have this week. Brandon, any welcome backs for you?
And Brick.
And Brick. Oh yes, Brick. How could I forget about him? All right, and then we have people who are missing. Always have people who are missing. I believe Ned, Lois, Brooklyn, Olivia, Laura, Stella, and Spinelli were not on this week. And oh gosh, there was someone else too who we just said. But anyway, there were a lot of people missing this week. I don't even know if was Christina on this week.
A part of me says Christina was on at some point in time, but the person that you're missing was Danny.
Yeah, Danny, of course, is missing. And then as to what I'm, oh, anyone else though?
Not that I know of, but you just made me think of another funny moment that happened this week.
Oh, what's your funny moment?
Lulu, when she found out that Britt is still alive, she said that she has to make sure that she and Dante go tell Rocco before Brooklyn wants to go spring that on him too.
Yes, very true too. All right. And then as for next week, I am looking forward to Britt because I just think she has a lot of storyline there, and I really like Britt. And so that's what I'm really looking for. And of course, more Drew, not necessarily Drew himself, but I mean the other people surrounding the Drew caper. All right, Brandon, what are you looking forward to for next week?
Ooh, what am I looking forward to? I would like to see more of Britt as well. And they did discuss this week that between her and Jason, that I guess there's some sort of form that you can fill out to show that you are no longer dead.
Yeah, there must be a form, and coming back from the dead, happens on a regular basis on General Hospital. So yes, and I'd like to see who helped Britt. I didn't think Brad helped Britt, but when Lucas began talking about that, it seems like he would. So I mean, if she had help from someone that's on the canvas right now, Brad might be the one.
But if you think about it, Brad, when he had gotten the position back at General Hospital, he used Britt's name and saying that she would want me to do this, that, and everything that's a part of some, whatever. So while I don't know if they were necessarily future planning that far, I mean, I suppose it would fit in with the timeline.
Yeah, it would, and I don't think they were future planning that far. I really don't. but but yeah. So, Brandon, anything else you want to talk about that happened this week?
Yeah, the whole Professor Dalton storyline's back.
Yeah, he's back. Go ahead, Brandon. Give your thoughts.
Yeah, and they said that he's going to make a big reveal tomorrow.
Yeah, whatever day tomorrow is. So yeah, whatever that is, he has bored me now. So he would be my fast forward person, but he's needed, of course, because we don't know what in the world he's doing.
And
And the dog,
Pascal is missing.
yes, yeah,
No.
Outlook is missing. Oh, and you're right, Pascal is missing too. Forgot about him.
I'm starting to think that this whole plot, it's reminding me a lot of the whole let's bring Lucky back thing from last year,
Uh-huh.
where I mean, we send Jason out to another country to go bring back a long lost person. Some people try to blow up, and now Jason is back, and the person wants nothing to do with Jason, and the big bad guy is missing. Last time was Sidwell, who then showed up, kidnapped Sasha. So I'm sure Pascal's going to go kidnap like Britt now, or no, kidnap Weasel in about a few weeks.
That might be true too. Yeah. Yeah, so we'll have to see what happens with Pascal, and we'll have to see what happens with Britt, and of course with Dalton. All right, so we thank everybody for watching today.
We look forward to seeing you next time.
All right, have a great day, everybody.